How's it, everybody?
All right.
How's it, James?
Very well, and yourself?
Getting yourself, thanks.
Good. I'm counting the days. I'm good. I'm counting the days till countdown to next week.
Yeah, I've
Are
just
you?
started with a new kind. It's a
So
friend of mine. I'm helping out, so I'm working the whole of Christmas now.
Sucks to be you.
But it won't be all day, so it's okay.
It's good stuff. How's everyone else?
Good yourself?
All good.
Hang on, let me just get. I can see everybody. There we are. I can see everybody. No, all good. As I say, counting the days. So we'll be there soon. All of us hopefully on holiday. Hopefully you guys are all going away. Are you also working, Grizel? You have that look of resignation about you. Like,
No, actually, I'm loving it. I have got a couple of days in December, but most of the time I'll be working through. So last minute helps where I can. So that's just how it is. The nature of the beast.
It is. Well, a lot of my clients told me, because a lot of them are kids, they all said to me, "Nah, 13th is it." So I thought about it, and it's like, okay, well, so I'm going to close from the 13th to the 13th. So that's.
Yeah, most companies have done that. Yeah.
That's a good break. I'm quite excited. I'm going to build a few really interesting things. So some of it will be holiday, and some of it will be creation. Because the problem is you don't get time to create. If you're working the whole time, it's you're always under pressure doing stuff. So this is the time. Because I'm in the teaching space, I've always got to update and create new stuff and what have you. So it's all good. Andre, how are you?
Yeah, this year there's a bit of a break and a lot of working, and hopefully we're going to make enough money from LinkedIn next year to go away for a long time. So I'm bargaining on you helping us through that.
Well, let's hope so. Eh? We all want to make lots of money, so
yeah,
all good. Nontabeko, how's it going?
Hi, James. Can you hear me?
I can, indeed.
Oh, okay. I'm great, thanks. Weather's gloomy out here, so I don't have the best of fix. But I'm good. I'm good. As I said, I've just traveled, trying to sort out a few matters. Not holiday, but
yeah, no holiday. There's the rest of the weekend, eh?
Yeah. So anyway, but good.
Okay, good stuff. Bruce, how's it going? All good.
Yeah, all good, yeah.
All right, good
cold
stuff.
and miserable, but otherwise fine.
Shame. Sorry to hear that, eh? Cape Town's been beautiful.
James, how's the new dog?
Naughty as anything. Yes.
What is it? What breed is it?
It's a Steffi. So,
oh my head.
Yeah, I see. Like I don't have to say much more. It's like so they send us this thing. There's two of them that come. You see, because it's us and friends of ours got same time. So they're quite clever. They start showing you pictures and videos from when they're like tiny, and now you got to wait 10 weeks. So they get you're all excited. So the other dog's about as a week older, but you can see the other dog like even early on in the videos. You can see that's the little dog that's got the spunk. And ours is like just sits there, nothing. And they tell us that our dog is I forget the word, but please use the word submissive because I can't think of the other word. But essentially submissive tendencies. Now we get this thing and it comes in for the first 2 or 3 days and it looks like that. It's like, okay, I'll sit on your lap, I'll turn away, you scratch my tummy. Passive, yeah, more passive than submissive. Yeah. So it's like, okay, this is fine. And then it's like all of a sudden like somebody told her, hey, you are Steffi, get with the program. Oh my God. And since then, yes, it's like someone turned a switch on. Now she's a different dog. Now she bites people. She barks. Yes, she's 10 weeks old, 11 weeks old. She barks at you. If she doesn't like what you're doing, she'll let you know. So it now barks at you, it bites you, it pees and poos everywhere. You smack its nose and tell it not to. It's like, yeah, it's got a personality in a week. It's just like, so yeah, it's a lot of fun. But yes, it's naughty. The other day, it's sitting on my mom's lap. I'm watching it, and it's like I can see the glint in the eye, and it's like lightning. It pulls the hearing aid out of her ear. That's how naughty this little oak is. Yeah. Anyway, so all good.
You pick the breed, you have to live with it.
You picked the red. Listen, I'm going up in the world. The last breed I chose was a Jack Russell. So
Oh no,
yeah, exactly.
that's even busier.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I'm going down the chain. I'm going down the passive chain. I'll
Is it
stick
the
with a
only
lab
puppy
next
you've
time.
got, James?
Yeah. It's the only one I've got.
Oh, oh.
So
But you need to
Maybe-
socialize. Is it a boy?
no, it's a
Male?
girl. No,
A girl. You
female.
need to socialize her so that she can grow up with other pups, you know. Right now it's okay, but when they're older, we adopted a bull terrier, 14 months old, and then it was set. No, we can't bring any other dogs into the house without it causing ruckus, you know. So
But its first friends are coming for a holiday on Monday. So the other one I told you about, and it's got an older one, and I've got another friend who's just got a puppy just probably a week before me.
oh,
So there'll be lots of walking and socializing. But yeah, you're right. Otherwise they come and play.
You-
In fact, that's why we got a female. We were going to get a male, but then the other friends have got they had a male, so we had to get two females because you can't you can't deal with that. Males are
James, you must get yourself a golden retriever. It will discipline the staffy.
no, it won't. That's our wish. Anyway, I'm gonna do things a little differently today, because I've been a little bit more ambitious than I ordinarily have been with the process, because I wanted to try to get you guys all the bits and pieces that you need for the profile. So I'm going to switch it around. I'm going to do a teach piece first, and then we'll have a look if we've got a bit of time. We'll do feedback from last week. So let me dive in and show you what's up here. Okay, let's just move that over there. Okay. So
And the link, please, James.
yeah, okay, let's do that first. No, that's no good. Okay, it is on its way. All right, so today we're going to do the experience section. We pretty much finished the about section. The section might be a bit different to what you might be expecting. So just very quickly, first week we picked our niche, then we created our magic message or our headline. We went to that with the right imagery. So we got our banner and our profile pic to be sorted. We then ran through the about section template in weeks 4 to 8, where we handled all the little bits and pieces. And today we're going to get into the experience section. So you might remember before I was telling you that the way that LinkedIn have essentially created the LinkedIn profile, being this amazing one-page website, is by looking at website best practice across the world. And so as we start to compare the bits and pieces, you know, when you look at website versus LinkedIn profile, the one thing that is not a direct correlation, so it doesn't always click the first time around, is when you're on the products and services page, right? That is essentially the same as the experience section on the LinkedIn profile. So you want to think of it that way. And the funny thing is, even though this looks like such an innocuous section, and most people tend to fill it in a little bit incorrectly. And the reason for that is because of, if you remember when LinkedIn started, it was a job board. And so they encouraged people to basically put a CV up. Because none of us here need a job, right? We can't put up a CV in the traditional sense because it's pointless. It doesn't make any sense to somebody that wants to hire us. So we need to do something a little bit different, and we need to actually give them an indication of what it is that we can do for them. And so that's really how we're going to use the experience section. And so the interesting thing is that when people get to the experience section, much as they would if they were on your website and they got to the products and services page, that tends to be the last thing that they do, right? Because they want to check you out first. And that's all the stuff that we've done up until now. It's been all that sort of positioning stuff, looking at our banner and calling people out, and then hopefully getting through our about section. And it's really only once people have done that and they get to a point and they say, okay, I think I like you. Let me see if you can solve my problem. And so the products and services or the experience page often is actually the money page, believe it or not, because that's the point where people are at decision point. Okay, I now need you to solve my problem. I'm now happy to pay money for you to do exactly that. And so just bear that in mind as we run through the rest of this. Now, what I want to show you is the typical user journey, right? So let me just I just want to open LinkedIn 1 second. The typical user journey that people go through on LinkedIn looks something like this. I'll just use my profile as an example. They've done tracking studies, obviously, so that's where this information comes from. So not every single person does this, but a great deal of people that are on LinkedIn, this is what happens. So they'll typically get to your profile, and as we know, they're going to look at the banner. So the banner tends to draw in the eye. So that's why we're wanting the banner to be somewhat representative of what we do. And that's why I'm quite a big fan of calling out the target market. So when they get you, they know they're in the right place. Then the next thing they'll do is they'll have a quick look at your profile pic. Again, they're almost looking for reasons to dislike it than reasons to like it, because at this point it doesn't really mean that much. But we discussed how to create a good pic. They'll look at the name, which again at this point doesn't really mean much. And then the first meaningful thing that they'll do after that is they'll dwell for a nanosecond on the magic message. And that's why this was so important and is really driving everything else that we do. If at this point we still got their attention, now they'll get themselves onto the scroll, right? So now off they go and they start scrolling. And then typically they would get to the about section. Hopefully they will click the see more button. They'll pop through all of that. Depending on where they are, what they're doing, they might look at your services. They might look at some of the stuff in your featured section. If you've got it, they might look at some of your activity, right? But if they're kind of focused and they're looking for a solution, they'll then end up now at the experience section. Now, the interesting thing with the experience section, I'm going to show you 2 examples. I'm going to show you the bad example first. So this company here, Infinite Sales Funnels, this was many moons ago. I don't think that website even exists. I never created a company page for it, and you'll know this because you see this LinkedIn skyscraper over here that they have. So I'm going to open this in a new tab just to show you. And so now what LinkedIn is doing is it's trying to find references to this company, right? So it can't, because the only possible reference that it can find is me. And so there's this kind of endless loop where it really goes nowhere. It's almost pointless. And the reason is because there is no company page for it to relate to, right? And so if you don't have a company page, you should create one for reasons that I'm about to show you now. Don't lose sleep over it today. I'm just trying to give you an indication of the process and how people think and the way that they travel through it, so that when we get into what we're going to actually put onto the experience section, that it makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so that's the bad example. What often happens though is when you go to fill in your experience section, one of the questions that comes up is it says, well, where do you work? Which company are you at? In other words, which position, which job position are you at? So that doesn't matter if you're running your own company or you're working somewhere else. And then you'll go ahead and you'll type it in. And if when you type in the company's name, the company actually has a company page, LinkedIn will pop it up and say, oh, is this it? And you'll say yes, and then you'll select it, and then it's automatically linked. And that's what's happened here. And you'll know this because obviously there's a hyperlink there, and it now has the company logo, right? Because when you're creating a company page, typically you would put a company logo on. So again, I'll open this in a new tab and show you now what happens. To show you what it looks like for members. Okay, so now this is what happens. So let's get rid of this one. If I now take you up to the top, you can start to see quite a strong correlation, right? So personal profile looks like that, and the company profile very similar, right? So obviously the banner is a little bit thinner, as we can see, but you're always trying to just keep the branding relatively congruent if it's you. Like obviously, if you work for a different company, then they'll be slightly different. But if it's you, even if you don't have a full-on website, it doesn't matter. You can still create a company page, right? This is important, and you want that continuity to go through. So everything is very similar. Obviously, on the LinkedIn profile, your logo is essentially your face because it's a personal brand. Whereas obviously, when you're on the company page, now you've actually got an actual logo. And then obviously there's other information, and you've got some space to talk a little bit about your company, etc. Now, what people do is this. Now that you understand it, let's go through this. So they're going through this process, see the banner, see the image, see the value proposition. Yeah, I like that. Off they go. Maybe they stop, maybe they don't. And now they'll get down here, and they'll do exactly what I said. They might first go here and look at the experience section, right? Or they might first go here. And then when they go here, it's actually a very simple matter for them to just go visit the website. Also, you can visit the website. There's another opportunity to put a link down here. So that is very, very typical of what people do on LinkedIn, right? When they are looking to decide whether they actually want to work with you. They may spend time on the website, they may not. It might just be a quick cursory look. Do you have one? Is all the stuff there? But that's the process that they go through. Okay. Now, one of the major reasons that I showed you that is because people get a little bit confused sometimes over here, because they often think that, oh, all right, because it's the company page, the information that should go in here should be about the company. Okay. Now, if you are the company, then that's kind of fine. But if you're not the company, right, and even if you are the company, that's not what you want to put there. You want to think about your focus being, so remember it says experience. So the question is not which jobs did you do and all that sort of nonsense, right? That's not what we're trying to get across here. This experience is your experience, as in you, the individual, because this is your personal profile. And then what you want to do with that experience is go back to this again, right? That experience again must substantiate your magic message or your LinkedIn headline. Because as I said to you, everything we've done has really been to push this. Right. So you want to think about it this way. When they get there, the question that people are asking is, hey, can you solve this problem? And they will have a very specific problem. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So that's the process that people go through, right? So now that you understand that, let's go back to the notes, and hopefully this will make a little bit more sense. So there's obviously an image of what I've just shown you. And when you look at it, there's 4 pieces to the experience section. So the first piece we've just discussed, the first 2 really, the company logo and the company name. Okay. So if you don't have a company page, worth you creating one, even if you do nothing with it, right? You have 2,000 characters to tell people a little bit about your business. And once you've done, by the way, this experience section, you'll actually often be able to copy and paste a lot of that into a company page, right? So it's really simple to create a company page. Don't stress about it now if you don't have one. Then you have the job title, right? And then you have the description. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the job title. Now, you don't know this yet because we haven't got there, but a little bit later on, which will probably be in the new year, when we have a look at how to start using the LinkedIn filters to find people, and then we start with a messaging sequence. What you will find is that regardless of whether you're using LinkedIn or you're using Sales Navigator, this particular little block of text is the most valuable and important piece of text, right? And again, if I just was to show you this, oh, did I close it? No, I didn't. Give me a sec. Sorry. If I show this to you here, well, let's actually just go on to it. If I was going to search for accountant, I'm just using it just as a term so I can get in here. We got accountant, and let's just go to people. When you then go into all filters, right? And it's kind of hidden right at the bottom. It's not as obvious as it is on Sales Navigator. You will see that you have the title here, right? Now the title tends to be the job function that you have. And if we go back, geez, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Hang on a sec. If we go back to LinkedIn, and we go back to our experience section. All right. This here is the job title. Okay, that is what has come up in this particular filter that I've used. If I had used this job title, so if I go here and I say owner, because somebody's called themselves an owner, or I could say director or managing director or managing partner, right? Let's just see what happens. You'll see how this changes from 8.8 million results down to a whole lot less, to 11,000. Okay. Now, this is one of the most valuable filters, particularly for people that are looking on Sales Navigator. And as I said to you, it pulls the information from that block and that block only. Okay. So if people are going to search for you on LinkedIn, right, this is how they're going to do it. So most people are not very creative, which is probably a good thing. So if I say to Benita, what do you do? She might say, well, I'm an accountant. If you ask me, I might say, oh, I'm a LinkedIn coach, or I'm a financial advisor, right? Whatever it is that people do. So if somebody is looking for an accountant, right, they would go into LinkedIn, like we've just seen, and they'll go and they would do this little exercise. They might put in a location and some other stuff, and hopefully you're going to come up, right? In order for you to come up, you've got to do some of the stuff that we're doing, but hopefully the higher you are in the process, the better that it's going to be. Now, what we're trying to do here, because we know that this is such an important filter and it gets used by so many people, and we can be so uber specific, right? Because it's this piece here, and it is essentially us giving ourselves the title. So we are self-identifying what we do. What we want to do is we want to try to get as many opportunities to be found. So if in this case I said, look, maybe I would have written LinkedIn client generation expert. Imagine I just written that, right? Which is fine. I could certainly have said that. The algorithm, when it's trying to find me, is going to respond to the word LinkedIn. It's going to respond to the word LinkedIn client generation. It's going to respond to LinkedIn client generation expert, client generation expert, client expert generate, client generate, etc. So not too many, but the variations in terms of that. Now, the minute I go and I expand this, right, and I add in the word lead and client, and then I say, oh, for accountants and financial advisors, okay, I've literally 10x my opportunity of being found. Because now I can get found for LinkedIn lead generation expert, LinkedIn lead generation expert for accountants, LinkedIn lead generation expert for financial advisors, LinkedIn client generation expert for accountants, LinkedIn lead and client generation expert for accountants. You get the point, right? The thing goes on exponentially. So I don't normally care too much about SEO because it comes out in the wash, but this is the one time where this will often, for a lot of you, make a tangible difference when people are searching. Because what you don't realize at the moment is all the stuff that you guys are doing now is saying to the LinkedIn algorithm, hey, this person is playing the game. So the more that you improve your profile, eventually it says, okay, this profile is an all-star profile. Oh, there's some engagement going on. Oh, we're sending some messages. Oh, and there's even some engagement coming back. You know what we're going to do? We're going to push this profile much higher up in the search engine. So you're going to get that love from LinkedIn just because of what you've already done and what you continue to do. And then when you I suppose, intentionally game the system as much as you possibly can over here, because you understand how it works, you have more opportunity to be found. So there's a very long-winded way of saying to you what you put here. You put here, you want to say to yourself, if somebody was searching for what keywords would they type in, right? And so by me expanding this, and I think we do have a character limit of 75 characters, by the way, so you can't go too crazy. Like if somebody reads this, LinkedIn lead and client generation expert for accountants and financial advisors, it doesn't seem weird, okay? It's still written for a human, but it's written to game the system. So you want to put as much information in here as you possibly can that's relevant. So for an accountant, you might say, instead of accountant, you might say owner of XYZ accounting services, or you might say chartered accountant chartered accountant, and then you might have a pipe or something, and then you say bookkeeping, tax, and payroll services. Right? It's not weird, but you're just giving the algorithm a lot more opportunity to bring you in. So your question here, right, is what are people searching for, and how can I incorporate that into my job title, so when they search, I get better opportunities to be found in the algorithm. And remember, when people are searching, they're looking for you. It's a different intent. A lot of what we're doing actually is creating a system where we're doing the outreach, but when it's inbound and people have intent because they're searching, they're looking for a solution. And if you come up, you've got a very, very good chance of actually closing some business. So this is really important. You want to kind of do this. All right. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Lots going on, obviously, with that. And then the last thing is going to be the description. It's like, okay, what do we put there? So again, not a whole lot that we can put there. So let's have a look at this. So I've just explained this to you. I probably don't need to go through this again, but you kind of get the message. So I could have gone from accountant to, and this is what I mean. This is quite acceptable to do this type of thing where you'll say earn XYZ accounting, and then you know put an emoji. Don't put an emoji. Actually, it's not the right place for it for all sorts of reasons. Just put a normal character. So a pipe is generally the best, and then you can say whatever you want. So owner of this, and now chartered accountant, registered auditor, full accounting function, blah, blah, whatever. And you'll obviously all do it for your own particular business, right? Very important. This is worth clients to you. I promise you. Down the line, if you do this, it's going to be worth some clients to you. We've spoken about the linking, and we've shown you that that walkthrough. So now we talk a little bit about the experience section. Think about this for a second as we start to think about how we're going to craft this. People are going to get to experience section probably through the process that I showed you, but it might be because you sent them a connection request and they went through that process and they got there, or maybe it's because they were searching. It really doesn't matter how they get to you. The fact of the matter is, typically when they do get down to the experience section, because if somebody cares enough to go and look at your experience, now they want to know. And typically the question is, can you solve X? Can you help me with it? Right. So if you're a financial advisor, somebody might be thinking, hey, can you draft a will for me? Because that's what they're looking for. So they go into your experience section and they don't see it. So like a lot of financial advisors will talk about doing estate planning, for example. And to them, inherent in there is that we create a will. But to the layman, they might be thinking, oh, I'm looking for a will. I don't see a will in here. And they don't necessarily understand, oh, okay, estate planning means that I'll create a will for you. They might actually bounce off, right? So oftentimes what we're trying to do is we're trying to create, as I say, the nuts and bolts. Just tell them that you can solve the particular problem that they've got. Because often that's the only thing, right, between them booking a meeting with you or not. Right? It doesn't generally affect them accepting the connection request. That we've normally handled about section and above. But when it comes time to, okay, do I actually want to book this meeting? Many times they'll actually come down and go through that process, get to the website, because now they want the validation. Like, are you the real deal? And then the question they're asking themselves is, can you actually do what I need you to do? Can you solve my problem? That's what they want to know. They're looking for some sort of proof. And so, honestly, when we talk about nuts and bolts, that's what we're going to tell them. Okay. And again, as I've said to you, remember this is your personal profile. And so, although I was showing you the normal user experience, I don't want you to get confused and to think you should go to the company website, copy and paste the information that the marketing people have written and go and put that on your website. No, there's a company page for that. We saw that. Let the company deal with that. This is your personal page, always your personal profile. So what experience do you have to substantiate the LinkedIn headline or the value proposition that you made to the people that are now on your profile? Okay. And this last one gives us a massive headache. 2,000 characters really is not a lot. We got 2,400 for our about section. 2,000 characters here, it's even less. This is a challenge, my friends, let me tell you. So that being said, if you look at this, what I've done for you is I've given you the potential experience section components. Okay. Now the stuff that's in orange and blue are the 4 sections that I suggest that you have. And again, just like I did with all the other stuff, I studied a bazillion experience sections, particularly the people that did this right. And I said, okay, what are the stuff that they put in there? And we went through the process, and it kind of looks like this. So let me run through this with you very quickly. So the first thing is, what is your current position? All right. What is your current position? And then I say, describe what your company does. I should probably say that a bit differently. It's not your company unless you are the company. But again, it's like, just describe what you do. Now, this is not long-winded explanation. This is really short. Hey, this is what I do. It's 1 or 2 sentences. So the best way to think about this, okay, is think of a classified ad. You know, I don't know how many of you ever placed ads like in the Star and the Citizen and all of that. Like, I was one of those when I was younger. And then they charge you per word, right? So you're trying to say the thing that you want to say, and you need to make a sale, so you must be persuasive, right? But you've got to do it in as few words as possible, because you have to pay for every word. So that's what you want to think about. And so you have this like bold headline, and then there's some text underneath. And that's what you want to do for all of these, is to kind of have the little bold headline, have the text. So you want to have as little as possible, but you want people to, when they get you, to be able to understand what it is you do. And remember, if somebody finds you in the search engine, right? They're going to search, they're looking for you. They find you there, as opposed to because you sent them a connection request. They may not go through that whole process I showed you. They may go straight here because they're just looking for the solution. They typed it in. They want to know. I'll double back eventually to look, right, but they may go straight here. So if the first thing that they go to is your experience section, and the experience section is the money page, because this is the where people are actually in the frame of mind to purchase, and they're looking for proof that you can actually solve their problem, right? Then it has to be able to stand alone, right? And that's why I say have these like little these little subheads with the information. And if you think about it in terms of a classified ad, that's really the best way to put this together. So the first thing is you're going to describe what you do. Then credibility we probably don't need. We've all covered that amply. I just put it here because sometimes people need to do it, we don't. So we can tick that box. Then we get down to the next one. So who do you work with? Who are your ideal clients? Now, this is the place where you really get to expand on who you want to work with or who you don't want to work with. Okay. Now, remember, you've built the profile specifically for these people, right? We are in the new year, we are going to find the very people that we have written this profile for. So when we send them here, they will be thinking to themselves, wow, this has been written just for me. And it's true, it has written just for them. And so now you can tell them who you work with, because you might have a couple of bad apples that or apples that just are not the right type of apple for you. You don't want those guys. You can let them know. And for the people who it is for, you just tell them, right? And you're just giving that reaffirmation that it's for them. I'll show you some examples of this in a minute. The next thing, and you'll see there's 2 options here. There's 3 orange and 3 blue. So 3 orange is what most people will do, okay? And that is just to list the products and services that you have. So if you in the type of business that has a relatively defined set of services or products for that matter that you can present to people, then it makes sense to list it. So accountants and financial advisors are really good examples. Like in that example that I gave you, if somebody's looking for a will or a retirement annuity or a buy-sell agreement, right? If I'm an accountant, like, do you do VAT returns? You know, do you do payroll? Do you do accounting? Do you do bookkeeping? Do you do tax? Do you submit financials? Like, just list all that stuff, just so I know you do it. Because I might be looking for a specific solution there. You know, maybe you say, oh, I handle tax disputes. If I'm looking for that, I want to see it there. So most people will end up doing that when you have a defined list. But there's some of us where that doesn't work so well. Okay, we don't actually have a lot of services that we do because we are often delivering something more experiential, right? So coaches are good examples of that. Consultants, you know, people that are generally giving you their intellectual capital in order to integrate it into your business. Then it's very difficult because we don't have a lot of those things. So then what makes sense to do is to give people a bit of an insight of what it will be like to work with you and what the process is like. So what's the expectation, right? That's really what they're looking for. And then again, the last is just the call to action, as usual. Remember last week we looked at the contact details. Here you'll often find you're a little bit short of characters. So before, where we want to list everything, he has the email address, he has the phone number, he has the calendar. You'll often find you're quite limited in space, and you often have to choose one of them. If you can put them all in, if you have to choose one, just pick one, but have one at least. Always have a call to action, always have contact details, right? Remember, this is the money section. If this is the money section and they've decided they want to speak to you because they're actually interested, don't make them hunt for the damn contact details, right? Just put it on the page. It's very simple. Okay, so that's the structure, right? So let's have a look at some examples. So the first thing in terms of the current position. So although I've said what we do, you would probably say what I do. Okay, so I help professionals, service providers, and entrepreneurs whose clients are in the B2B space to get at least 2 new clients every month forever. And then I go on to say, we either do this with you or we empower you to do it yourself. So you no longer have to rely on referrals and outdated pre-COVID methods that no longer work. Okay, so again, I'm speaking to my target market, but it's pretty clear, right? It's 2 sentences. If you just came straight from search and you didn't see the rest of the profile, you could come here and say, oh, okay, I get that. Okay. And to be honest, I've taken a few liberties because of this being an example. Typically, I wouldn't put all of this gun for. I would actually just be our accountants and financial advisors. End of story, right? But you get the point. As long as your target market can recognize themselves, right? Because the first question is always, this for me? Am I in the right place? Right? That's what you want. Then you can go on to the next piece, and now I can get into say, okay, well, who is this for? So I'll now say we specialize in accountants and financial advisors, right? So I've moved from we help professional service providers and entrepreneurs in the B2B space to I specialize here. And remember, when I'm typically reaching out, these are the people I'm reaching out to, right? So mostly these are people that are going to be here anyway. And then I'm going to say, I'll split it up a little bit further. Look, we help individual accountants and advisors, and we help sales managers and directors responsible for their teams meeting targets. Okay. So it's fairly clear. There's not rocket science. It's relatively short, like whether you're in the right place or not. Then here's an example of your services. So this was 3 Orange. Now I don't have a lot of stuff I do. Like a lot of what I do is coaching based. That's my main program at the moment. I've got a few books and I've got the odd course on that, but that's not really where I put a lot of my focus. And so, as you can see, I really had to stretch this out. I was trying to fill some space with these are my services. Okay, best-selling author of numerous books showing you how to get clients from online funnels and LinkedIn. Webinars teaching our proprietary systems, group and individual mentoring, helping individuals and teams, done for you LinkedIn profile service and LinkedIn consulting. Like that's my bag of tricks. That's what I do. Right? And so that in and of itself is not very effective. It's like, yeah, okay. But I mean, fair enough. You might be looking for LinkedIn coaching or LinkedIn consulting. Yeah. But you don't really know what, because I haven't gone into any depth to explain it to you. However, if you were a financial advisor or an accountant, then it makes sense, because like if you're an accountant, right, you've got different services and you'd put them in different categories. So you'd have like accounting services, you'd have tax services, you'd have payroll services, you'd have secretarial services, right? Similarly, if you're a financial advisor, you've got risk products, you've got retirement products, you've got investment products, saving products, so on and so forth. And then you can list the whole shopping list of, well, we do all of these things, because that's what people are looking for. Hey, can you help me with X? Or can you help me to solve Y problem? And that's typically how you would use this, just to list out all of your products and services. Here's how I would do this now. So let's say I'm a coach. So I rather want to let people know what it's going to be like to work with me. So I said, well, this is how it works. So we've developed a partially automated regulating client generation blueprint, and it consists of just 3 simple steps. that even people who are technologically challenged can implement. So a lot of the people I deal with are tech phobic, right? Once the system is built, it'll work for years to consistently generate new clients, new leads and clients every month, forever like clockwork. Particularly the financial advisors, they love that. That's music to their ears. It takes just 15 to 30 minutes a day. So now, okay, this is giving them a bit of a sense of what's their sort of time commitment. What am I going to get? 2 to 8 leads a week. We easily translate a minimum of 2 new clients a month. Okay, I'm getting an expectation. How are we going to do this? Okay, well, we'll coach you personally in a group or on Zoom, because the devil's in the detail and we want to ensure your success. Oh, and we'll give you everything you need, all the collateral. So we'll provide you with slides, worksheets, templates, standard operating procedures, control systems, and more to ensure that you shave years off your learning curve so you can start generating clients as fast as possible, right? So if you were somebody who was thinking about LinkedIn coaching, you knew it worked, you weren't sure, and you saw that there was an offer, and you read this, you would have a fairly good idea of whether this was worth a phone call or not. That's really all I'm trying to get across here. So this is a better option for those of us that, as I said, provide more experiential type stuff, where we're doing implementation. For people that have got that box of products and services, particularly for where those products and services are quite well known, then it's better to give the shopping list so that people can see. And when you give the shopping list, bullet points are great, right? They're easy to read, and you don't have to have big long explanation of everything. Like if you do monthly payroll processing, it's like you don't need to explain what that is and what system you use, and it's like, I do monthly payroll processing. That's all they need to know. That's what they want to know. Okay. You might say, oh, okay, I work on Zero and Pastel. You might say that, right? Or Zero and Sage. But you don't have to go into massive detail, because all people want to know is, hey, can you solve this problem for me? Okay. So that being said, call to action as per usual. If you can put everything in, you do. Otherwise, just put something. Couple of other, sorry, I skipped over this. Let me just go back here. I skipped over these few things over here, and the reason I did it was that the 4 that I've just told you, those are so key, and if you do those, that makes a great experience section and people get the gist. If you still have space, okay, and some of you might, then you can do all this other stuff over here. So one of the things you can do is you can talk about the outcomes that they can expect. You can add testimonials and rich media. Okay, so just, I'll show you that in just a sec. So let's get back down here. So here's something that you can do for expected outcomes. Now, if it's easy for you to promise an outcome because you know that it works in your business, then you'll do so, right? So average of 30% connection acceptance rate, generate 2 to 5 appointments a week, sign at least 2 new clients. Some of you, I understand, you won't be able to do it. So can an accountant say, I'll save you 30% on your tax bill? Well, not really. Okay. But what they can say is, we can save you between 5 and 30% on your tax bill, right? And as long as you have achieved those results, then that's quite feasible. I understand you might get a client that comes to you that's super, that their taxes are up to date, everything is super optimized, and you really can't save anything. But I promise you, for 95% of the people out there, any good accountant can save you tax, right? So you can say that. So if there's a tangible benefit that you can give them, you should try to do that if you've got space, right? Those are just some examples. The testimonial thing works well, and again, some of us might have put testimonials up in our about section. This often you do not have space for this, but you know, it's kind of this the regular client LinkedIn system is very practical and logical. Steps are easy to implement if you follow them. I got pretty good results right off the bat. The first month and a half of the system, I got 12 meetings and signed 3 clients, right? So one of my financial advisors. So when you get that, this is exactly like the person wrote it, right? It's like copy and paste it and put it here. Again, we're probably not going to have a lot of space, but these things are quite cool. So if you do have the space, and particularly if you can give a name, because people can go and Google this now, or they can go on LinkedIn and find the person on LinkedIn. You'll be there, right? Right. So this is something that you can do if you have the space. Often you don't. But one of the cool things that you can do, though, that being said, credibility paragraph we don't need. One of the things that you can do, though, is sorry, I just want to see. I thought I had the slide on that. Oh, I popped it right at the end. One of the things you can do is this. is you can have what we call rich media, right? So rich media, if you look here in the orange, means that you can upload different things. So what is LinkedIn going to accept and give you access to? Anything that's obviously a PDF. Microsoft owns them, so anything that's a Microsoft product, whether it's a PowerPoint, Prezi, Excel doc, etc., you'll be able to grab that. And then when it comes to the image stuff, JPEGs and PNGs. Okay, there's a couple of other rules, but fundamentally that's what you're able to do. Let me just go back and show you kind of what this looks like in real time. So you'll see down here, I've got this is rich media. Right? This is what we're actually referring to down here. Now, the cool thing about rich media is that you can link it somewhere. So you can literally put anything your mind can dream of here. And this is one of the few places where LinkedIn doesn't lose their minds when you actually click off their platform. So you'll see here that I haven't put a lot of information. You'll see here, that's the actual size of the image, so people can have a look at this. And then I say, yeah, look, download it if you want it. And if you click on it, it's going to take you to the place to go download it. Right? So this is now taking them off LinkedIn to wherever you wanted. And had I chosen the other one, again, if you view it, it's just going to take you to LinkedIn, where there's a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, I won't go through that. So this is kind of cool. So if you're wanting to do testimonials and you've got a lot of them, this is a cool way to do it, rather than what I showed you before, where you're trying to get it onto a profile. Because I promise you, 2,000 characters, like we've hardly ever got space for testimonials, and they're so strong. So this is a really, really nice way to actually do it. So that is what I meant when I was talking about rich media. So just going back to where we were. Okay, we're into the home stretch here, and then we'll dive in for questions, and you guys can ask whatever you want surrounding us. So this is kind of homework, and it's exactly what I've shown you. So the first thing is describe in 1 to 2 sentences what you do. So there's the template, and here's my example, right? So you can go onto my experience section, and you can have a look at the sort of stuff that I've done. So again, what we do, we help you get these 2 new clients a month forever. We do this to empower you. You saw that before. Okay. Then the next thing is I go, who do I work with? And so here now, again, is describe who you work with, your ideal clients in 1 to 2 lines, and create enough details so that they can recognize that you're talking to them. And if you want to, you can exclude people. Right? So we specialize in accountants and financial advisors. Tick that box. Then I go on to say individual accountants and advisors who need regular clients, professional service providers and entrepreneurs whose clients in the B2B space, and sales managers and directors who are responsible for their team meeting sales targets. So like it's clear, if you're there, then read on, otherwise duck. No, there's nothing for you here. Then of course you're going to do your product and service listing. So for most of you, just list your bullet points and see how far you get as many of them in as you possibly can in those 2,000 characters. There's a couple of pages for you to do that. I've shown you that example already. And then, of course, for a lot of you, it's particularly on this call, there's quite a few of you where it might be more beneficial for you to describe, what you do. And some of you might be lucky. Okay, some of you might actually be able to do both. So if you're thinking, can I do both? The answer is yes, you can. So if it's not a very detailed description of what you do, so like in that example of the accountant, when we talk about payroll, you wouldn't say, payroll and then say processing and then RP5s, etc. You wouldn't list all of that stuff. You would just say payroll, accounting, bookkeeping, tax, secretarial. So you'd have a broad listing, but then you would then give them quite a good indication of maybe what the onboarding is like and what it's like to work with them, etc. So if you can do both, you should. But yeah, just sit down and and try to explain to people. Think of it this way: try to explain to people what their experience is going to be like when they work with you. Like that's all you're trying to do here. Let them know. So go ahead and write that down. You've seen my example. We've been through that. Contact details, literally copy and paste what you had in the about section and chop out if you have to. If you don't have to, leave it all there. If you have to, then at least have one way to
Calendar link.
contact you.
Mhm.
Expected outcomes. Use it or don't use it. This is optional. You'll see. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. Testimonials and case studies, again, optional. But if you've got space, pop it on here, or use the rich media as we've seen. This is really cool. You can do all sorts of things with this. And then credibility. I've got it there just in case, but I promise you, we've all handled this more than enough under the about section, and that is that. So I know that was a lot of stuff. It's more than I normally do, but I was trying to get you guys functional if I could by the end of the year. Do you have any questions on that?
James,
Yeah.
when LinkedIn makes a recommendation of people to connect to, that little profile pic and underneath that title, where does it pull that from?
It pulls it from, typically, it's going to pull it from here. And if it doesn't pull it from here, it's going to pull it from here.
And how do you see yourself? I mean, I can see other people, but I don't. How do I see myself coming up?
You log into somebody else's. It's dumb, hey? It's like, seriously? Oh, sorry, I'm showing you stuff, but you can't see. I was wondering why. Yeah. Yeah. So what I was saying, often it's the image and about the first 90 characters of your magic message or your headline. But sometimes what it'll do, depending on the nature, sometimes it will pick up, particularly in search. Sometimes it will pick up what you got here.
Okay.
Again, it's filter dependent and all sorts of things. So it's one of those two things, typically, that people are going to do. Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? I've got you on my other screen.
James,
Yeah.
so when people search for accountants, what do they search for? Like for their small businesses, what do they search for? Do they say accountants for small business? Do they say?
I might. There was a stat a while ago on Google, and I forget what it is, but it's some astronomically strange stat where 80% of the daily searches are unique. So anything you can think of. But you want to think about it from the perspective of what's the main stuff that they will be looking for, right? So it's probably bookkeeping, accounting, payroll, tax. Those would be sort of the buzzwords.
Financial statements,
Financial
yeah.
statements, but it certainly could be accountant for small business. And if you're specializing, so like, I mean, you should call out your specialization because it's so unique.
Yeah, I know somebody, I don't know where they got my details from, but they asked for financial models, which I think is like a sort of a specialization. So I think there are people looking for people who do financial models. So would I put it there, or do I put it somewhere in my profile? Because it is already there. But I want to know, should I put it in my title?
It's not something. No, I wouldn't put it in the title. The reason being, not many people will search for that because it's not really a main line for you. Put it in the detail by all means, as we discussed. But no, I wouldn't put it in the job title.
Okay.
Just ask yourself, what would other people search for?
The main things. And the main things.
And obviously the cheat code is you go and search for other accountants and go and look at what they've got and steal some stuff. But most of us generally tend to know our clients well enough to know what they would search for.
I have no idea. So
no, you do. You got like when you speak to your clients, think about it this way: like when they think of your last 5 clients, right? Off the top of your head, why did they come to you? They all had a problem.
They were all referrals.
Okay, there may have been referrals, but why did they need to be referred to you? What did they say to you when they came to you? Okay, I need you to help me with. That's the thing they're searching for.
Yeah. Are they really? Like, if they need help with tax, are they going to search for tax
100%.
accountant? Yeah.
Yeah. You just want the keyword in there.
Because I know in Google search that the search term accountant near me is very popular. And like things like that, accountant for small businesses or accountant. Yeah. Those are the two that, come up the most. So yeah, I was wondering, well, LinkedIn, does it work the same way?
I'll show you what LinkedIn does do. So on LinkedIn, again, LinkedIn's got the services section. Okay, and if you guys are looking and saying where the hell is that, you'll have to go into your add a profile section and just activate it, right? But it's worth going into. They give you up to 10 tags, I suppose, for want of a better description, of the services that you provide. Where does this come up? This is interesting. So again, if we go back to our search and we get to our filters, and this is very similar to Accountants Near Me. This is like the Google Maps equivalent. As you get down, it talks about service categories. So if somebody's looking for accounting, they'll tick accounting, and they'll say, "Show me." Look at that, comes down. Where'd I know? But that's because a lot of these people don't have it on their profile. They haven't filled it out. So these people, the difference between the 1.7 and 11,000, have all lost out because they haven't filled this in. So that's something I would have shown you next year, but seeing as you've brought it up, I thought I'd show you now.
Okay.
So that's the equivalent of Accountant Near Me.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
I'm sorry, can I ask you a random question? I see some people you can connect to and some people you can only follow. What's the difference?
The truth is, you can connect to them all. So let's have a look. Just open.
If I can say, I think it might be the people who are using Sales Navigator. The people who aren't using it can't connect. You can only follow.
So if you look at Tanya here, right? Tanya's had the option to turn the follow button on. If you go here to where it says more, then you'll still find the connect button. Still connect, all right? So the difference is, let me explain to you. A connection is a follower, but a follower is not necessarily a connection. So when I send you a connection request and you accept, you automatically become a follower. You can unfollow should you want to do so, and I'll explain to you now why you might want to do that. A follower is something completely different, right? So if somebody follows you, what that means is that when you're on the LinkedIn profile, when you're on where's my profile? When you're on your profile, or actually not on your profile, when you're just on LinkedIn, when you go into LinkedIn, in your feed, right, you'll get a whole bunch of stuff. Now LinkedIn, I don't know why they're showing me this third level suggested. LinkedIn's trying to obviously work out what I'm doing. I've confused the hell out of them. You can see promoted, I deal with accounts, I'm getting QuickBooks, etc. But a lot of these are going to be first level connections, right? The reason that their stuff is showing up in my feed is because I'm following them. So if you look at your LinkedIn feed and you think, yes, what a load of shit in my feed. Guess what? When you see stuff you don't like, just go and follow them, right? Then they will not come up. They can still be a connection, right? And get all the other benefits that we've spoken about, but you won't get their stuff in the feed. Now, there's a hard limit on LinkedIn of 30,000 connections. Once you get to 30,000, you have to start deleting old ones to get new ones. And so that's why LinkedIn has kind of followed Facebook's lead a little bit and given you the option to create quote unquote followers. So you'll see people can have hundreds of thousands of followers, but only 30,000 connections. So that's the difference, and that's why this happens. So Tanya here, you would expect her to be doing a lot of activity because she's turned on the follow button. The only time you're going to get people to follow is if you're a creator generally. That was LinkedIn's whole thinking behind it. If you're the person that creates content, you want people to follow you so they can see your content, right? If you don't care about that, then you connect. So that's the difference, and that's how you find it, and that's why. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but it's still confusing. But I understand.
Well, in this instance here, right, where she's trying to get you to follow her, right?
Yes.
But it doesn't disappear. So if you just go to the more button, the option is still there. It's just LinkedIn is trying to let us manage our feed as best we can.
If let's say for instance I only follow her and we're not connected, can I still reach out to her and send her a marketing message or a message or something because we're not connected?
No, you have to be connected. So you still have to send a connection
Okay.
request.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's messages. Any other
James?
questions there? Yeah.
Yeah, last week we discussed the relatability. Where does that fit in? Because I wasn't sure.
It'll be
It must be on the about me.
yeah, no, it's typically
or...
in the about section.
Okay.
Where am I? I didn't have space. Otherwise I would have put it in here somewhere. But typically what will
Okay.
happen is if you look at most sort of profiles, and once you sort of go through everything, and you'll see in the new year we'll put all of this stuff together, right? And it'll make sense. But typically, as we know, it's going to be our hook and just drawing people in with our value prop statement. And then, typically the story will come in and the extended value prop. So there'll be a bunch of information here. And then normally as one gets towards the end, this is now where I chose to keep the authority or the credibility thread going. But this probably is, if I was going to sacrifice, this is what I would have thrown out. And I would just say, I might have said a bit about me and then just had a quick little sentence here so that it sort of tapers down. Okay, this is real person. And then I end with a bang. Okay, this is what to do now. Let's chat. That's quite a typical flow that tends to work quite well. But it really doesn't matter where you put it. And as you know, sometimes you've got to make a choice. I made the choice not to have it here. I do use it though in my messaging, which I'll speak to you about next year, which is kind of cool.
Okay, cool.
James, why would you have taken out the what my clients say section? Because it's in your experience section.
No. I was just giving the example of if I wanted to put the relatability in and had to make a choice, that's probably what I would have done. But I in terms of the business perspective, I felt that the testimonials were more important than a little bit about me in this instance. Let's say sometimes you got to make choices. That was just a conscious decision. That's what I did.
In what situation would it be like okay to take away the testimonials, just for example?
If you had something more important that you had to say. So you've got to look at all of those different components. So typically what happens is when we write, we struggle because 2,600 characters is not a lot. And then we come up with a lot of information. And then you've got to kind of work backwards, right? And you've got to say, all right, if I remove this piece of information, would it dramatically affect the sale? Right? Does it affect the person's ability or propensity to make a decision as to whether they're going to work with me or not? And if your answer is yeah, if I deleted that, it wouldn't make a difference, then that's the thing that goes. It's hard to do that, but that's how you make that decision if you have to. So a lot of you from last week and the week before, I was saying to you guys, just relax, because some of you, a lot of what you've quote unquote got in your about section, you might now be able to push to the experience section. So now you've got that opportunity to do a little bit of a juggling act. So some of the stuff that you thought, oh, I actually have to cut it out because I don't have space, or maybe not now, because instead of being so experience heavy in the about section, you can push that to the experience section now that you understand what it's for. Because most people think it's a CV, and that doesn't work for any of us, because as I said, none of us need a job here. So that then becomes a very different mindset. So I'm sure that'll help you guys. That's why I said, let me get through this. And then once we've done this, then we can play around and we can get each person's about section sorted, get the experience section sorted. We'll do all the formatting, and like that last bit sort of all comes at once, and then it'll be pretty cool.
Sorry, James, just the last question. Is your calendar booking, is it a LinkedIn thing or is it an outside app?
It's an outside app. And typically, like even here, you'll see you can't click this. People know that though, so they would just copy and paste the link, or they would just go straight in. So no, it takes you to my website. I've got a booking page on my website. So it's
sorry, and the app you're using here, the address, where do we find this?
You know what I would do is I wouldn't use this because this is a different version. Let me screw with all your heads.
Use TidyCal. It's
Yeah,
$25 for life.
yeah. That's what I'm going to screw with their heads. Sorry,
Or
some of you,
Google Calendar.
some of you are going to love me, and some of you are going to hate me for this. This is my favorite site in the whole world. AppSumo. Let me tell you about this site. These guys have got a database of about a million people, and I'm one of them. And what they do is they companies, all these companies that have got these software as a service apps, you know, the typical you pay a subscription and we give you access to something another. And what happens is that companies that have got an app that's working, right? They come to AppSumo when they need a cash injection so that they can continue to develop the app. Then AppSumo sends out these messages to us, and then we have the opportunity to buy these deals for a one-time lifetime price. So we don't have to keep paying every single month, right? So in many cases, we're taking a little bit of a punt on these guys. But I've been buying stuff from them for 5 years, and I think 2 deals I can think of in living memory have gone south. And a lot of them I still use, right? And so they've got all sorts of things. So if you go into software here, you will see they've got a bunch of different options of things that different apps in different spaces, right? Now you can also search. So let's say you went and you said calendar, right? And you search for calendar, it'll bring up whatever's there. And if I say yes, it'll start to bring stuff up. This is a higher grade one, but you could use that. The one that Praneeth is talking about is this thing. It's fucking awesome. Costs, they've pushed the price up now. $39.
Yeah, it was $25 before.
$39 lifetime. This thing is amazing. You just buy it once. And actually, this is an internal AppSumo tool. Actually, it's one of theirs. All the others they sell other people's. So let's have a look at this. If you go into this, every AppSumo sales page is laid out like this, right? So there'll be some sort of image, and then there'll be a clever little introduction as to what it does. If you want to go to the website, it will be there. It'll then give you the too long don't read. So this is the quick summary. So create free and paid booking options with custom booking pages that sync your calendar in real time. Manage your calendar easily with integrations, custom email reminders, auto created messages, URLs, blah, blah, blah. Right. Then they'll give you some other info. This is who it's best for, integrations. This is an alternative. So most people use Calendly. So it's like, okay, now I understand what the tool is, because it's a Calendly option. They'll give you a quick little video walkthrough of some of the main features, and then they'll describe main features below, blah, 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 blah. And then they'll get down to the bottom to the pricing plans. Now, most of these pricing plans, although it says $39, they often have more options. So if you look at this, you'll see they've got 2 options, right? They've got if you have a team or an agency, then you should be spending $79. Otherwise, you can get away with $39 if it's just you. And then they'll tell you these are all the features that it can do. And then here's the difference between the 2. Right. So like you can see, if you pay less, you only get 10 calendars. If you pay more, you get 25. Everything up to here is the same, but then you get different things. You get dedicated team page, etc., etc. And then you decide what you want, and you buy it, and you pay once, and hopefully never again. This is a very good little app. It'll do for most of you. It's a beautiful little thing. It's easy to set up. Integrations are very smooth. Get it $39, and you never have to worry again. Okay, appsumo.com. The reason you are going to hate me is because, like, when you start, especially if you haven't seen this site before, oh my God, you go down rabbit holes and you'll be there for days. So someone will have to bring you food, and if you remember, you'll go to the toilet. Otherwise, you might pass out because you just spend so much time here. Andre, does that help you?
Yeah,
Why is that better than?
I've checked at this, but one of the things, I think they don't have a South African payment gateway. Is that correct?
But
Yeah,
no one has that.
Yeah, it's not a general function. I mean, generally with a payment gateway, they'll click somewhere and then you'll send them somewhere else. You can always put a link in. So if you needed them to pay for something, you'd put a link on the thank you page. So
Okay.
you always
Okay.
have data in there, but like
Yes,
like
yes.
some of this, yeah, some of the stuff was linked. I haven't actually seen anything linked to a South African
Okay.
gateway.
Okay. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, James.
Okay.
What's the difference between this and Calendly?
Calendly is a little more sophisticated, but you pay monthly for Calendly and you pay once off for this. Essentially, that's the difference. They pretty much do the same thing.
I think it's like $120 a year, right?
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah. It's
Okay.
it's a lot of money. So it
So it
adds
depends,
up.
I suppose, what you need it for, because at the
Yeah. In fact,
the free version of Calendly
yeah,
is fine for me.
I've just switched over now, actually, from what I was using. So I had a thing, the 24 sessions, the one you asked about. I bought it on AppSumo probably 5 years ago. It's very cool because it's like a combination of Zoom and Calendly. So it does both. Yeah.
It does both.
But it doesn't always work as well as I'd like it to. So eventually I got fed up and said, stay with the 500-pound gorillas, the stuff that you know works. So I've actually just changed most of my links over to TidyCal now. It's a very slick little app. It's nice.
If you've got more than one type of bookings that you want people to book for, then you can't use Calendly, isn't it? Because you need the pro for that.
The free version of Calendly only allows you one account type. So if you need a 15-minute and a 30-minute and a 60-minute booking, you're screwed. Then you need to upgrade. So although it's quote unquote free, it's quite restrictive.
Yeah.
That's the free account. Whereas this does all of that and more. You can integrate multiple calendars and do all sorts of things with it. So okay. You guys have any other questions? For those of you that got stuck into homework for last week, does anybody want to go through anything there? I think last week's stuff was relatively straightforward, but if any of you want to ask anything, I'm happy to run through that with you.
Should we try and write our profiles now to put it within the characters? I know there was formatting and all of that. Or are we doing it next year?
We'll probably end up doing it next year because what I want to suggest for everybody is write the experience section so that you've got the two, and then let's see what we need to move, and then the formatting is quite easy. It's not a big train smash, but kind of getting everything in and working out what you want to say, that's the most important thing. So I would do the experience section first, then you've got all the info, and then it's easy. Also, one of the things I'm going to be working on is some ChatGPT prompts to help us. So we might be able to just take all the info, stick it in there, and it'll bounce it out for us. I'm trying to make this process a little bit easier for the new year. All right. Any questions about this week, last week, anything else? All right. I guess we're going to early day today.
Yeah, while you're asking random questions, when you try to connect with somebody, you do have the option to put in a little message, type of thing. But I think that's limited. You can only do 10 or so many, and then it blocks you. What's the value of that message? Or do you just say to the guy, connect? And what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are I quite like, personally, this is a personal thought, not everyone agrees with me. I like the ability to have a message. Okay. The reason I like the ability to have a message is because whenever you speak to someone, so let's go back here. So let's use you as an example. There you are. All right. So when I view your profile, right, and I look at the messaging sequence, we now go back right to the beginning, right? So we've had a bit of communication. this is what happens always. So this never ever goes away. This is the one thing LinkedIn doesn't archive, or they can pull a smart move on you. So particularly if you haven't dealt with somebody for a while and then you send them something, they'll go back to the beginning and say, okay, this is where it was. And then they'll be able to see your connection message. Also, this connection message often for me is setting the scene for what's about to come. Okay.
Yes.
So the next message makes sense because of this message. So that's why I'm quite a big fan of this.
Okay.
Now, LinkedIn have been a bit of schmucks lately, where you used to be able to, everybody could just go and send 300 characters. That's our limit of this message, 300 characters. And you could send as many as you wanted. Now, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to push the sale of not the Sales Navigator product, but they've got a thing called LinkedIn Premium, which I think is a crap product. Honestly, it really is not worth the money for what it does. If you buy that though, yes, then you can send 300 characters, where at the moment you're limited to 200 characters, and as you said, only 10. If you have Sales Navigator, then those rules don't apply. Then you can send unlimited, again, 300 characters. So that's my personal preference. Okay. That being said, okay, you may have no choice. So if you're sending connection requests now and you don't have Sales Navigator, then you're stuck to the 200. Okay, people that have been doing this longer, that have got legacy, I think can still do 300. So it's more new accounts that are stuck to 200. So some of you, even though you're on LinkedIn, might still be able to do 300, and you can do more. Right? If you can't, all is not lost, because you can still send as many connection requests as you want. Obviously, once people accept the connection request, so you would send it without a note, right? So like if I was going to speak to Tanya and I wanted to connect, I would just send without note, and then it would just send it, and then it would just be there without a note. When there's a note, people have an opportunity to assess. Sometimes you got to be careful, right? So the sales guys, the hardcore sales guys, they will tell you, do not send a note, right? Why? Because people look at the note and say, oh, salesperson, I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to be pressurized. I quite like sending the note. A lot of people will tell you, whether you send a note or not, it's not going to make a massive difference on the amount of people that accept your connection request. The sales guys will tell you more people will accept if you don't send a note, funny enough. Okay. But to me, that's not the real metric. The real metric is how many people that, if you send 100 connection requests a week, how many of those end up in a meeting? That's the critical metric. You have to all measure that yourself. I don't know what yours will be. So it's an interesting one. So if you don't have a choice because you don't have Sales Nav, well then send without a note.
Okay.
But if you can, yeah, note is better always.
Thanks.
Cool.
James, if I may ask some question.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe it sounds stupid, but yeah, I couldn't understand your message regards the difference between follow-up and connection, because follow-up means, just like in a simple words, that I'm gonna see all of the posts that these people are posting, yes, and with the connection, I'm not gonna see that. That's correct?
No, it's not correct. You will see it. So when somebody accepts a connection request, they're automatically a follower, right? So most times, if they're a connection, they're a follower, unless they've unsubscribed or unfollowed. Sorry, not unsubscribed.
Okay.
Unless they've unfollowed. But you can be a follower without a connection, but you can't be a connection without a follower initially. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that this nice. I just need it.
All right. Mamuli? You're on mute.
All right. Hi, James. Hi,
How's
guys. Apologies for not attending. It's was a bit busy the past two Wednesdays. For me, it's more of a comment and actually more to say thank you for setting this up, and it's been quite valuable for me being part of it.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's really helped on some communication things. I'm having better conversations. Also getting more followers pretty much every day, but having better conversations with those that are connecting, etc., etc. So, yeah. And then I think my question then is: it sounds like I wasn't here last week. This sounds like it's the final one this year, and then we continue next year.
No, I think, well, unless you guys want it to be the final one. I mean,
Oh,
Paul,
sorry,
no,
sounded
no,
like.
no, it's a good point. Because what I'd like to do, if we can, is next week I want to just get the feedback on the experience section. Because then you guys, for those of you that want to go and try to put it into the boxes, and then at least you have the option to update your profiles. I can also show you quickly how to do the formatting next week, so that because that was the goal, is to put you in a position where at least you can have a profile that works, and then we'll talk about messaging and searching and that sort of thing in the new year.
I
Yeah,
think
that'll
that'll
be
be
great.
great.
If that's possible, it will be great. Thank you, James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's do that next week, so we can at least give you guys all that opportunity to be positioned. So you hit the ground running next year. Yeah.
Sorry, James, is it possible to have a little spreadsheet or something of everybody on the group? I know there's people I want to contact in the next year.
Yeah, there is. I have it somewhere. It's kind of been interesting because we started with a big spreadsheet. Now it's not so big anymore. Yeah, I'll find it for you and I'll send it. I'm only going to
Thanks.
send the people that have come. So like, if you came for 2 sessions, like you don't count.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
need to
okay,
you need to have been a proper participant. Then
okay,
I'm happy to leave those people on the list. Yeah.
thanks.
Though you did predict it, James. So some say that words create, or
Oh, listen,
maybe experience knows.
yeah,
Or
experience
experience
knows this.
knows.
It's how it goes. And that's fine. That's why I kind of like this process. I mean, I'll get some feedback from you guys also on it. Whether it was too long, whether you want to shorten it, whether you change it. Because I also had an objective, which I also want to see whether that gets met at the end of the day. Didn't one of the things that would actually be really cool. And maybe we should have pushed it a bit earlier, but I kind of wanted to get to this point because I think it makes more sense. And I would say for all of you guys in the new year, you should try to have one-on-ones with each other, because you're now getting to really know each other. And I think that now there's real opportunity for you guys um, to pass referrals, which is ultimately something that you want to do. Now that you've spent so much time, and like, make no mistake, the people that have spent the hours are the good folks. And I don't I say that again, experience speaks and tells you that, because you've got to have some sort of drive and commitment to stay the distance. So and I think I even said that in the original page that I set up, is and I definitely said that on the first day, is we'll see who gets to the end, because we'll know that those are the people that you really want to deal with. So even if let's say you need an account, but you haven't worked with Pranita, like, you'll still know you've seen her enough, you've had interaction, you've seen her intellect, you've seen the questions she's asked, you've seen the commitment. You'll know, you know what, even if I don't know her, there's a really good chance she's probably going to be the real deal. And that's been a big part of what I've been trying to create here as well at the end of the day. So what you guys should do, because the interesting thing is you might even now you might think we're still a bit unrelated, but the more you chat to each other, you find you're not. And the way that you find that out is when you have a chat. So with me launching this program, I got to speak to these unbelievable people that I never would have met otherwise. And some of them have developed into amazing opportunities. A lot of them which will happen next year. And it just wouldn't have happened. And people that you wouldn't have expected. The opportunity has been in a slightly different direction, than than what it actually is, or what you actually thought it would be. So it would be really a good idea for you guys to get to know each other. In fact, I'd like to encourage that. Even if you just have a 10, 20, 30-minute chat, then you really get to talk to each other and find out about each other. You know a lot more now than you might think. This process was designed to get you to do that. So now you should be comfortable with each other. Like, it's not strange. You know who you're talking to when you speak to the other person. So the conversation should flow quite easily, and then yeah, you really get to know the people. And I'm going to do the same with all of you as well. So I'd suggest that you chat to each other. So I'll get that list off to you guys. And then, yeah, I'll do that. I mean, you can do it this year as well, but I would say certainly by the time we finished. Realistically, I'm just sort of thinking, and again, this being a beta program, you know, I'd say 12 weeks and could get it into 12 weeks. I've tried to stick to that, but it could run on a little bit, particularly when you get into the new year, and maybe we get more into messaging, and if that's where the rubber hits the road, and you might say, you know, can we do a few more sessions there? Yeah, happy to do that because it's a beta program, so we take it where we need to. But we'll all talk about that. So speaking of next year, I'm off till the 13th of January. That week of the 13th is the week I'm back. Still okay. So the link is still there for then. I might have to. Oh, I made this. Oh no, I didn't. Doesn't say I made it for days, but I didn't. I ended it on the 29th. So we'll see you next week, and then on the 15th of Jan, that'll be the next one, or the first one for next year, and then we can chat. And maybe you guys want to do some other stuff. I've quite enjoyed the way this group's developed. It's got a little bit. I'll say it's different to what I anticipated, but I didn't really know what to expect. So for you guys that have stuck it out, if you want to do some other stuff, I'm happy to do that.
Start of your networking organization, James.
Well, I guess so, hey. No, it's
BNI, here we come.
Well, I've got another group that I do tomorrow, which is a BNI group.
Oh yeah, you told me.
It's
Yeah.
it's been a slightly different orientation. I must be honest with you, I don't really have aspirations of running my own networking group. That's not what is intended. It's quite specific that I want this to be a situation at the end where we refer clients to one another. That's really that's my end goal. However we do it, whether it's because I taught you some stuff on LinkedIn or because we got to know each other and it makes sense for us to refer. That for me is the key thing.
I think the thing about networking is, you know, I was with BNI, but the thing I learned now is you have to be intentional with networking. You can't just expect to be in a group of people every week and expect the business to fall into your lap.
Yeah.
So, you know, having those one-to-ones is probably going to help.
Yeah, no, it will.
Also with networking, it's not only who's in the group, but it's who they know.
Yeah.
So although we may not end up with doing business with each other, we can refer people that we know to, you know.
Yeah.
So that to me changed the way that I did networking when I realized that it's not the people in the room, it's the people that the people in the room know.
Yeah. So what I tried to do with this group is a lot of it was actually modeled off BNI, both the good and the bad. Obviously it's not as rigid as they are, which is probably
very rigid.
Sometimes I think maybe I should be a bit stricter, but it's worked out because the group was a decent size. But if this group was double the size, like there's no way I would have been able to do that. I would have had to like people off and do it differently. But it is tough. It doesn't work for everybody, you know, in those situations. But one of the biggest problems that I found, and I'm not picking on BNI particularly, I'm talking about networking groups in general, is that often you'll get into the networking room and you can't really do business or refer or receive referrals from everyone in the room. The people in the room are just not the right people generally. And so I tried to write that here. So the people that I've invited, it started as I sort of explained to you earlier with the sort of attorney, accountant, financial advisor, and then industries allied to that. So all of us are servicing the same type of people as them. So and we're all fairly business orientated. And so that was really the idea. So you'll notice there's no florist, and again, nothing against florists. But as an example, right? There's no florist there because none of us are really going to be able to get fantastic referrals from a florist, even though she may be a wonderful lady, or he may be a wonderful lady for that matter.
Well, I don't do financial statements because I'm not qualified to do it, but I'm hoping that if I ever need someone, I had an accountant who does, but he just takes so long and is such a pain to work for. So I'm hoping that Pranita will be able to help me with that.
Yeah,
sometime in the future.
And I promise you, she's going to have a time where shit has hit the fan because everyone leaves stuff to last minute, and she's going to need someone to mop up some stuff on the back end. That's now when you get to work with each other one on one, and again there will be helping one another with clients. So it's kind of funny. People always think, yeah, we're in the same industry, but actually when you speak to people and you get to know them, you realize actually there's amazing opportunity, often within the same industry. I network with some of my peers in the marketing and the LinkedIn space. It makes sense. So. All right.
But I had to laugh because I'd come from a marketing seminar before I joined yours, and this guy was, Facebook is the only place to market. You cannot think of anything else but Facebook, nothing else. And when you started your day, the only place to market is LinkedIn. Forget about Facebook.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's horses for courses,
Yeah.
So you've got to say to yourself, where are my clients? Some of you they may be on Facebook. This is specifically.
I think LinkedIn's more powerful than Facebook.
LinkedIn is B2B. I mean, Facebook is more B2C. So it's horses for courses.
Yeah.
But I think I just want to say that I've done a lot of marketing reading, and you get people that the marketing consultants, it's someone that doesn't know any marketing. When you listen to the consultants, they're like, this platform is the best platform. This platform is the best platform. And you get sucked in because you think they're like a guru, so they should know everything.
Yeah.
But once you realize it, then it's like, okay, LinkedIn and email can work together, and social and email can work together. Outbound can work. It's like whatever you put your attention to will work.
So it is where your clients are. I always say you should explore other things as well. So a lot of what I do is not just in my space. Because I always look for success, and then I'm always asking myself the question is, okay, how can I get whatever's working in that industry to work here? And so you should look at Facebook, for example, and then you'll make a decision. You'll soon realize. I mean, I've got financial advisors telling me they're going to TikTok now. I'm saying, really? Some of them. It's like,
yeah. As I say, I started my daily joke to make my website just more up to date, and if you update it every day, it just stays better in the rankings. And then I thought, well, I'm doing that anyway. I might as well market it on Facebook. And now you came on, well, I'm doing that anyway. I might as well do it on LinkedIn. So it's a finger, you'll catch someone, but to do the more direct connections will be awesome in the future.
Yeah. Sorry, Von's got her hand raised. Let me. You've been so quiet and sitting in your little corner. It's your turn.
Call me baby. I'm sitting in a corner. Okay, so I'm going to say about the different platforms that's out there. When you're trying to select who your client is or where to go and look for your client, I think a good way of thinking about it is to, and James, you can jump in here, but is to focus on your client's intent. So when will his intent be the most closest to your business? And that's when you need to be in front of him. So it's not about leveraging, I think from my point and our strategies are not about leveraging a specific platform. It's about what is the client's intent when he's on the platform, and is that the time that he would like to see you? And is there a different platform or a different way to get to him where you can either manipulate the intent or kind of engage the intent, if you guys understand what I'm saying? James, you can agree or disagree with me.
Yeah, I think you always got to just think about where your clients are. I mean, intent's a really good way to think about it. Again, it comes back to pick the niche. Pick the niche, pick the offer, and then okay, well, where are the people that are going to buy this, and go there. You know, I'm very intentional. My niche is on LinkedIn. I've tried to pick people who would be better suited to be on LinkedIn, but I understand a lot of people market on the other platforms. I don't diss them. I don't know a lot about them, and if you can, you should go there. But you know, a lot of times we're in a situation where unless you're a professional and you're managing it for someone, to try to get to know more than one platform is hard, eh? You want to try and do 1,000 things, it's like just pick one and just become damn good at that, and you'll be fine. So yes, it is.
If I can say something, because right now we came to the very interesting subjects and comparing the platforms. How I see also the difference is that yeah, definitely LinkedIn is much more professional. This is how I see it, and that's like my final intention is just to use this platform, and only because I don't have a time, and I also don't like to sit on social medias and like posting everything from eating breakfast, visiting friends, and anything like this. It's not my personality like that. I prefer to come to the professional meeting, just say what I can offer, and I can either do that or not, just help, support, whatever. But the point is that, for example, Facebook, I found out have very nice, I would say, feature, like there's markets, Facebook markets. Me as a business broker, I must be honest, I found a couple of business there that I will able to connect. And my question is actually, does LinkedIn also have something like that?
No, not really. LinkedIn's
Because
obviously
yeah, because you see, as a business broker looking for businesses to sell, it's pretty difficult subject, yeah, because I'm not an accountant. And if I will look for keywords, business brokering, business for sale, whatever, who I'm going to find? Other business brokers. And that is the point. How can I use all of this knowledge, all of my profile, to get more leads?
Well, we'll talk a lot more about this next year, but to answer your question this year, your best plan of action is going to be to connect with people that can connect you to people selling businesses, because you're a needle in the haystack market. It's like your target market is small to start with, and how the hell do you find them? Right? So I always say, ask yourself the question. This is for all of you, right? Something's going to happen in the life of your ideal client before they get to you and need your service, and then something will happen afterwards. Okay? Oftentimes, if you can have strategic partnerships with the people that come into contact with them before or after, it's a good thing. Obviously, you want to get them before they sell the business, right? So in your case, you're going to say to yourself, okay, well, who's the first person to know? Probably the accountant, maybe the attorney, maybe financier. You ask yourself those questions and then go build networks with those people. Because an accountant, right? What happens to someone who says his business? He goes to the accountant and says, I want to sell my business. What does the accountant do? Accountant says, oh, okay. Accountant does all the books and the projections and prepares the business for sale. But the accountant's not the one that sells the business. Now there's a question. How do I sell my business? Oh, when you speak to the editor, is what she does. That's how that business pays. So your best plan of action for what you're doing is going to be probably accountants, financial advisors, attorneys, I don't know, maybe people that are winding up estates and that sort of thing. These are people that will know that businesses are available for sale before things happen. Maybe people that deal with what's the word now? When people go into administration, those guys, because they'll know.
Business rescue.
Business rescue, thank you. Yeah, business rescue practitioners, that sort of thing. So just think laterally, and then that's who you need to build a network with.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, cool. But we'll talk a lot more about that next year. Once you guys are positioned, you see. So, sorry, just before you go, you're starting to ask the intelligent question now. And I don't mean that in a condescending way. What I'm saying is because you've gone through a little bit of a process and you're starting to understand it. Now some very clear logic is coming into the process. I can see now you're really thinking about this. So now when you get into next year, you're in a really, really good position to make this thing work.
Because I must be honest, I do appreciate everything what we went through in the previous sessions and how we were expressing ourselves in the kind of approach to a client to describe our services and professional services, whatever you can say it. The point is actually that at the end of the day, I just realized that I can write a story, even a book about, dramatic life and so on. But in my opinion, because I mentioned also that for 10 years I was a chief editor. And that's why I was a chief editor, but I was not the best in writing. I was more in managing and creating, like managing actually the newspaper. So but I was also choosing the content and I was editing a little bit as well. So what I realized, one thing, that there is like a one and the first thing, people are reading less and less. That's why they don't want to read like a full story. When they open up something and they see that it's going to take them like 3 or 4 minutes to read it, they're going to just give up. Your page is fantastic because it's like structured. Question, answer, and the answer is not like, oh, I was working for so much and I'm so experienced, but the approach of, I don't know, this and this company had an influence on my life, whatever. No, you have like word of the like name of your client, and it just like strike in the best way. And why I brought the subject on the table is because at the end of the day, if we know who we're going to connect with via LinkedIn, that should have an impact on what kind of content is going to be there.
Sure.
And financial advisors, for example, accountants, and so on, it's not that people who like to read the Harlequin stories. They like to have to everything. There is like, everything is like in columns, rows, and they can like look at it and they already know where they are.
100%.
Yeah.
So if you
have influence on what kind of content later I will have in the sections of about or experience. Yeah.
So think about what we did this year as the positioning piece. Also all about preparation, and then next year we'll get into the details of how to actually make it work. So almost two very different purposes, but we had to do this piece to do the next piece. So the fun stuff comes next year, or maybe this was the fun stuff and the serious stuff comes next year. But you're very close now, and once you got this. As you pointed out, you have that understanding, which I think is the important thing. Then it really becomes a lot more clear in terms, and you'll change your profiles, right? You don't have to stick with what you got. As you learn more and as you broaden your horizons, as you learn more about your ideal clients, you will go ahead and you'll make updates. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's correct. Honestly, I was hoping actually to get my profile ready in 80% or 90% before end of this year, so I can, start. I can start connecting, have impact on people, even if I know that we're gonna that the country is gonna shut down for like 3 weeks minimum.
Yeah. Well, the goal should be after next week. You guys can probably put it together. You'll certainly have all the main content you need. Rudy?
Yes. Yeah, so I really do appreciate. Thank you so much. I really valued all of the sessions so far. Because at the beginning, when I look at my LinkedIn, I said, okay, so what now? What can I do? Somebody mentioned me like, yeah, your LinkedIn is another social media platform that can be used to connect with people. They're like, okay, but you're like, please show me how to do it, because I cannot make the painting. I'm not this kind of person. I can read numbers. And that's why it's like when somebody put me like 2 + 2, I know that it's going to be 4. But if somebody just give me million of, not number, just like create something, you know, completely out of the blue, then it would be like pretty difficult for me.
Yeah. All right. Mamueli, I need the toilet badly, so this is going to be the last question, and then I need to go.
It's more of a comment for the previous conversation in terms of another market that is really struggling, and I think needs his assistance is you've built the business and now you want to retire. And maybe 3 or 4 years before you want to retire, a lot of them actually do not know how to do those numbers to evaluate their business and then obviously broker a good deal. So especially doctors with practices, some of them are working and carrying on their practice, but they really no longer want to be there, but they do not know where to start in terms of actually starting that brokerage question, and they children don't really want to follow the path, etc., etc. So I think 55, maybe 60, pending retirement of the business, they would definitely probably appreciate your services.
The other thing that I'll tell you, then I really do have to go to the toilet, is that there's a friend of mine who plays around in the space and deals with accountants. He's done a lot of work with business brokers in Canada, and he says one of the big problems, right, is that a business comes to you, and it's not saleable, and then there's nothing you can do with the damn thing. So you give it back, and then it disappears. So you want to think about this saleability thing. So somebody might come to you and you say to them, dude, I'd love to sell this business, but you don't hear what you think. I have an accountant that's going to work with you. I've got a business coach that's going to work with you. We're going to do this, this, and this. So maybe it takes 6 months or a year, but you're the one that now you've helped the business coach, you've helped the accountant, you've helped the client, and you say to these guys, I help you with this. The deal at the end is when that business ready to sell comes back to me. I'm the broker on this deal. So this is the sort of way that you think about these things. But Mamueli's idea is actually really, really good. You know, that's when you're talking to either financial advisors in the space, or on LinkedIn you can you can find the older people that are in business, and you say, okay, well, maybe there's a fair chance. So I'm going to reach out arbitrarily directly to potential clients. Those are the sorts of things that you would think about. Anyway,
and yeah, I don't want to break the dream here because I believe that actually everything is for sale, but the price and how you're marketing, that can be sometimes challenging. And yeah, because in this business, like business brokering, not everything is so obvious. You must sometimes put yourself in the shoes of the company, of the owner of this company, and then think in a very creative way how to market it and what price would be really good to put it on the market. Okay, but I'm not.
I love you all, but I have to go to the toilet now, so I'm going to love and leave you, and I'll see you all next week.